Copa America is going so terribly right now. I mean, it has been probably the worst tournament that I've ever witnessed as a football fan. This Copa America 2024 cannot happen ever again. And it was so great beforehand seeing how all of the Americas basically combined for this tournament, which is not inherently bad at all. In fact, I think it's a good thing to get teams like Mexico, Canada, USA, Jamaica, Panama, all involved in Copa America, because we've seen, especially with Canada taking Uruguay to penalties in the third place game, that some of these teams from North America and CONCACAF can compete in Copa America. And as time goes on, I think that will become more true. So that's great. And hosting it in the USA didn't seem like a bad idea, but it was. And now you have questions about, is USA even capable of hosting the 2026 World Cup? Because it just gets worse and worse. Now, it started out with referees, and I don't think that anything can actually sum up this Copa America better than this meme right here, which it's 100% true. Euros is all class and in football and tactics, and Copa America is brutal. It is just, it's a dogfight out there, as Matt Turner would say, right? It's not pretty. And it gets even worse, especially when it comes to the fans, right? Because we are seeing now, post Bielsa comments, Bielsa absolutely crapped on the tournament for bad fields, small fields, which, to the USA's defense, is not entirely their fault. They had a lot of great venues in which CONMEBOL restricted them from having big fields simply because a couple of the venues were smaller. And so they wanted every single field to be the same size, when realistically, a lot of these fields could have been regulation, FIFA World Cup size. That would have been great. But instead, they made all of them small. And so I don't know why they couldn't have played at least, most of the matches on great fields, or just completely get rid of the venues that can't host a, regulation size match. And of course, by the laws of the game, you can play the games on smaller fields, but if everybody's complaining about it, then why? I feel like the USA definitely has the facilities to play these games on better pitches, and they just didn't. So a lot of it comes down to, obviously, greed and trying to fill up big stadiums with $1,000 tickets. But a lot of it also comes down to, this poor Copa America comes down to the fact that security is not ready for these fans. You can see how Colombian fans here, and I don't want to just, you can see right there, it's not just Colombian fans. It's mostly Colombian fans, but Argentina fans as well, breaking through the barricades, getting into the match without a ticket, and especially with a game that is the Copa America final, which was supposed to kick off 12 minutes ago, and I feel perfectly comfortable making this video knowing full well I'm not going to miss any of the game, because this is happening currently in Miami, where fans are breaking into the game, getting past all the security, and probably hiding in the stadium, which means that all of the security and police are going to have to sweep the entire concourse and try to get all of the fans who don't have a ticket out before they can even play this game. And also make sure that they get all of the fans that actually do have a ticket in. I've seen my friend Tactical Manager on Twitter. He's literally standing in a huge mob of people who have tickets trying to get into this match because they're not letting anybody in because of these people who are breaking into the game. And you can see, it's mostly Colombian fans. They're just barreling through, getting through the barricades and just running into the match without a ticket. Now, I would assume that a lot of people walking might actually have tickets. The ones that are running, probably not. Or maybe the ones walking are just trying to blend in. Either way, this guy says USA can't host the World Cup. And the USA has hosted a World Cup before. I don't think it's going to be as bad as Copa America, because the USA is going to be much better prepared. But we have to understand, stadium owners, right? And anybody organizing the event has to understand that this is not Ohio State versus Michigan in college football, okay? I understand that a lot of Americans think that's the biggest rivalry, but the fans for these games, it's 100 times the rivalry. It's 100 times crazier in terms of fans. We have to be ready with security so that these things don't happen during the World Cup, because Copa America is like the test run, and we failed the first test, all right? So when it comes to the final exam in 2026, we have to maybe study a little bit harder. As you can see, there is some police presence trying to get these people out, but there's so many more fans, and of course that's going to be the case, but so many people trying to get in, and it sucks when you see another event like this in which children are obviously going to be involved. And we also saw in the semifinal match between Colombia again and Uruguay, in which the Colombia fans kind of corralled and around the Uruguayan families, the wives, the children, and that caused the Uruguayan players to run up into the crowd. And for good or bad, it did start some fights. And we saw Darwin Nunez land a few and take a few. And yet he still started in the Uruguay third place match, which I thought was pretty funny. And you know what? Whether you take, Colombia's side or Uruguay's side on that, we can all agree it wasn't a good look for Copa America at all. And it seems to only be getting worse because now the final is delayed. And who knows how long. I think they said 30 minutes, but it's going to take probably a lot longer than 30 minutes to sort this out. So even if they do start the game on time, I know damn well that the fans are going to be upset. And when you have a game this important and this massive, Colombia, a lot of these Colombian fans, like my friend Andres, he doesn't remember the 2001 Copa America. So this is the first time Colombia have been in a final in his lifetime. It means everything. And so they're coming into this game already pretty upset. And let's say their team gets a foul called against them that maybe isn't a foul, because we saw in the USA versus Panama game how bad that referee was. We saw in the USA versus Uruguay game how bad that referee was. CONMEBOL referees, pretty terrible as well. And that could spark a little bit of outrage, especially when you get a few drinks in. That could also lead to another problem. This might not be the last problem we see in Copa America. That's all I'm saying. I think that in the next 2 hours, we could see another problem or two arise, because it's obvious that we're not ready yet to host these kind of matches. So we have to use this as a warning and a wake-up call that this isn't going to be the Lakers versus the Celtics, okay? This is going to be matches where in the World Cup, you're going to see Argentina maybe playing against Brazil. You're going to see USA maybe against Mexico. These matches mean everything to these people, and it's going to be a little bit tougher to control the crowd, and we have to be ready for that because this is a mess.